Now, how about them damn Celtics?
And we are back with another episode of How About Them Celtics. Sam and I are here recording on Saturday, April 19th, ahead of the Celtics Game 1 first round series against the Magic. By the time you're listening to this, tip-off will be in just a few hours. Playoffs will be getting underway. How you doing, Sam?
Doing great. This is the most wonderful time of the year. Game 1 happening later today, as Jack said. Fun show on the way. We'll be recapping day 1 of the NBA playoffs. We had 4 games yesterday. This time we don't really know how they went. I can tell you right now, Milwaukee, Indiana is not close. We'll get to the rest a little later in the show. We'll give you all of the latest around the Celtics. We'll go over those games. We'll do the rat list. We'll get up out of here. Make sure you stick around for all of it. Leave a comment. Tell us what you thought of day 1 of the playoffs, how you're feeling going into game 1, and subscribe to the channel. We're here every single day. Full pods drop Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday. Game recaps up the morning after each game, and other videos are here to keep you up to date with all things Celtics.
Yes, sir. Let's start with practice today, and the topic of conversation primarily was Jaylen Brown's knee. Much to his dismay, he did not really want to talk about it. Bobby Manning just opened the press conference opened Jaylen's press conference and asked him about the knee. And Jaylen off rip just said, "I'm not here to talk about my knee, guys. It is what it is. I'm focused on Orlando," which the entire beat then found creative ways to ask him about his knee because what else you could talk about, man? Like, you have to talk about it. I'm sorry. That is the conversation. But there was some respectful prodding after that. Asked about practice, how it's been going. He said practice was great, just taking it one day at a time, just like everybody else. We had a great breakdown, a great game plan, so we just got to come together and execute, or just come out and execute. Joe Mazzulla was asked about it too, and he was asked if he will be good to go for game 1 of the playoffs with restriction or with no restriction, and he just said yeah, and that was it. He said he looks good. He's able to do everything, no limitation. He's been great physically and mentally, really preparing himself, ready to go. So love the week that he had. Obviously, we're never going to get every little detail from Joe or Jaylen. Like, that is what it is. They're always going to say they're fine. But we've heard from, Horford. We've heard from Drew. We've heard from everybody else, KP, that he looks good. KP even said, I know he always says he's feeling good, but he actually looked good. So it does sound like the injections have helped a little bit. Jaylen didn't comment on the injections. That's what he was asked about when he said, I don't want to talk about my knee. But he talked about some other stuff too. But by all accounts, it sounds like Jaylen is as good as he could possibly be given the situation.
Yeah, I mean, all we can do is wait and see. So game 1 will be really good test for all of this. The narrative will be played out. We've heard all the talk about the knee for weeks, and all that is left to do is to see it, really. I mean, I hate to squash the conversation, but I mean, I think you're on the same page. It's just what it is at this point. That's what we have. That's what we've known. We've seen how it's affected Jaylen's game. He hasn't quite been himself. You've been on the train that, and I think it does make a little sense where you can't really heal it from what it sounds like. So you have to learn to deal with the pain. And then maybe he'll almost be like Superman. Like, he'll feel believable because he can't feel the pain anymore. And he'll be playing so far above expectations. But I would not put that on him. Just for what it's worth, nobody gets super excited.
Yeah, no, I mean, we won't know how Jaylen looks until we see how Jaylen looks. We were never going to get a clear answer from Joe or Jaylen or anybody, for that matter, on Jaylen Brown's injury. The realest answer we got is what I just mentioned from Kristaps a couple minutes ago. Like, him saying, I know he always says it, but he actually does. Like, Kristaps is usually the guy who you can go to for an honest answer, the guy who you won't really play the media game as much. For what it's worth, Jaylen Brown also talked about a little bit of the recovery process and stuff like that. Obviously, earlier in April, he talked about how he's like learning to make adjustments, learning to play with the knee, using skill or the force, like finding that. And Adam Himmelsbach, I think it was, asked about how the process has been for him in terms of like learning to play with the injury. And he said, I think it was great. I appreciate Joe and the training staff. We had a good game plan that we were kind of filling out. I know my body pretty well, but the decisions that were made, I felt were best. And I think I'm going to use some of that stuff in my back pocket as we go forward. But that was a good test. That was a good test for me. So it does sound like he was using that to experiment as an experimentation phase as to what he could do with the knee, what ways he could, get around the limitations his knee might present him in the playoffs as sort of a fail safe should the injections not work to their best ability. And we don't know that they did or didn't, but we do know that he is confident in the way that he has tested out the knee, and then we'll get to see how it reacts in the playoffs once they get started today, as you're listening to this.
Yeah, that's really just what it boils down to. And, hopefully we have seen Jaylen be effective while he was dealing with this. So hopefully that's the player that shows up in the playoffs. I'm sure it'll be subjective, team to team, game to game too. When they played Phoenix, he was really good in both the games. When they played the Knicks, who are a more legitimate defensive team, obviously didn't go as well, but it just seemed like it might have been physically bothering him more that day too. There are just so many factors that go into it that it's tough to really gauge where he is at. So today will be the big trial. We'll all find out.
Yeah, and then maybe that wasn't Adam who asked that, because I think Adam actually asked him about the way he's been preparing, because obviously everyone was begging Jaylen Brown to rest down the stretch of the regular season. But I mean, rest can be a good thing or a bad thing, right? On the one hand, you get time to rest, but on the second other hand, you don't play, right? You're losing time to prep and practice and get out there and get live reps. And so he was asked, I think this was Himmelsbach, about like how he used the downtime to prepare mentally and physically. He said, just preparing your mind more than anything to expect the unexpected. We expect Orlando to come out and play with great force. They're a good young team that's hungry, so expect that intensity level. So I think setting your mind first for what you need to be prepared for, and then once you do that, your body kind of follows suit. So just preparing mentally for a tough physical matchup and taking it from there. And this Magic team is physical, right? Like that is how they play. They're a great defensive team. So you do wonder how much they're looking at their game plan and saying, all right, we know Jaylen is dealing with this knee. Let's test that. Let's see if we can maybe not bully him, but see how much or how well that knee is holding up. And I wouldn't be surprised if they challenge Jaylen a little bit more than people are used to seeing.
I mean, that is the playoff mentality. It's almost like in baseball, when the pitcher's dealing with something, you bunt and try and make him get off the mound and make him work and make him use his feet. It would not be at all shocking. It's a great point if Orlando went at him and tried to make him defend. I'm trying to think, like, when did this become a super prominent story? Because back at the beginning of March when they played the Lakers, like, that was the last great two-way game that Jaylen has really played. Like, just the intensity brought on both ends of the ball. This big story was him defending Luka, which is no small task, by the way. That is one of the best scorers in the NBA, one of the best in league history, and defending him is obviously very difficult. So for Jaylen to show up and be that intense on that end of the floor was really impressive. But since then, I don't really know if, one, he's been put in a spot where he has to show out in that way, been faced with a task that kind of puts his pride at stake too, where he can feel really great about making that the story of the game. And three, like, just even had to be tested. So, we'll have to see what they do for him tomorrow, what they go at him. It would be interesting. I think he's fully capable of defending these guys in Orlando. Not to say that they're bad players by any means, but just the amount of help that's going to be available with the weaknesses that are the fringes of the Magic offense. It's going to be a lot easier for the Celtics to recover, even if he is picked on successfully.
Yeah, we'll see. I have a feeling, a sneaking suspicion, that Jaylen wouldn't take too kindly to being targeted. So I can imagine him taking that a bit personally. So we'll see how that goes. And we don't even know that the Magic
Also
are
a
gonna do
great
that,
point.
all right, let's check out y'all's emails. A reminder, as always, you guys can email us at hbtcpod@gmail.com. A little bit lighter on the Celtics section today, just because the game is today and most of the content is going to be dissecting other playoff games, but we can go over your emails. So again, reminder, as always, email hbtcpod@gmail.com, hbtcpod@gmail.com. We got one from RJ, says something to fill the empty days. Morning, folks. Still a few days until the Seas host Orlando. So here's a list of for people to ponder, discuss, /argue over. These aren't the bests or goats or Mount Rushmore. It's just my favorites. I'd love to hear some of yours. All of these are from players and games I got to watch live, so no one before 1975 is on these lists. Favorite Celtics passers: guards, Tiny Archibald, Rajon Rondo. Forwards, Larry Bird, Baylor Shireman. Hey, I'll indulge some recency bias. Center, Dave Cowens. Favorite vibes guys: guards, Isaiah Thomas, Nate Robinson. Forwards, Walter McCarty, Kevin McHale. Center, Luke Cornett. Celtics I'd trust with the last shot: guards, Peyton Pritchard, Ray Allen. Forwards, Larry Bird, Paul Pierce. Center, Robert Parrish. Who are some of yours? RJ. No be well today, RJ. I guess you just fucking hate us now. Okay. How do you want to do this? Do you want to, I mean, we can give some of our favorites. Do you want to go list by list, position by position? Do you want to do one for each of us, or what are you thinking?
Why don't we just go and give one person for each of the categories presented, like guard. Literally, just go down the list do all of it. We give one per listing.
Okay. All right. You can go ahead. So do you want to do? So
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead. Yeah. Go ahead. Run it.
I loved watching Marcus pass the ball. To be honest with you, a lot of the discussion today will be probably very
Recency
based.
bias. 100%.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what we've watched. So.
Marcus was a really great passer. It was something we didn't discuss all that much because of the defense and how just intense he was as a defender, obviously winning defensive player of the year, but he made some really great passes. He had really good vision and got to the point where he had great chemistry with Jaylen and would hit him with the backdoor bounce pass for loud dunks off the baseline. It was one of my favorite sequences. I do want to talk about this quickly. Shireman being on here, there's some guy in our comments that'll pop in every once in a while and be like, Shireman is the next Larry Bird. So that guy is pumping his fist right now.
Mm-hmm. Favorite passer. It's hard. I feel like Rondo's the obvious answer. Excuse me, but I didn't watch him as much. Low key, and I don't know if this is my answer. Phil Pressey was a fun passer for those like 2 seasons that he was in Boston. I don't know if that's gonna be my answer. It's hard. I think Rondo's probably just the best answer. I feel like he's probably like by far and away the best passer who's played for the Celtics in the last X amount of years. Outside of that, no one really stands out as like an elite passer. So I guess I'll just stick with Rondo. I feel like that's the easiest answer. I'll give Luke Cornett a honorable mention though, because I'm a big fan. Okay, vibes, guys.
Blake Griffin, how'd you miss it? RJ.
Yeah.
Oh, that one was right there. He's the man. Blake Griffin's the man. Kind of sad that he hasn't made his way back around since 2023 because everybody here really seemed to like him. He really fit well with the team after coming over from Brooklyn. Oddly enough, a team that they had eliminated the season prior in the first round of the playoffs. So shout out to Blake Griffin. Just really fun when he was here. He would start every like 10 games and it would be sick. He dunked a couple times against the Hornets that one time and everybody was hyped. I enjoyed watching him play. I thought he was and he hustled too. Like he wasn't just out there to try and ring chase, even though he kind of was. Like when he was on the floor, he was busting his ass. So big respect.
Yes, respect indeed. Blake's the answer. I don't think there's like another one. I'll give some honorable mentions though, just for the sake of it. I like Shane Larkin a lot. No, I like Shane Larkin a lot. Shane Larkin rocked. Malik Fitz was the GOAT for that one season on the bench. He was great. Torrey Craig's great this year. Taco. I'll give Taco the vibes.
Oh, those are good pulls. I don't know how I forgot Malik Fitz. Remember when I found the guy just had all the Malik Fitz basketball cards on Reddit?
Yeah, it was funny. Celtics I trust with the last shot. Huh. Do you have an answer? Or do you want me to go first?
If you ask me, I think Isaiah is a good pick for this one. Just felt like fourth quarter was his thing. Tatum is now sneaky back in the conversation of this where we can respect his game in the clutch. Also, Derek White.
I'll give Jeff Green a shot too. When that motherfucker had the ball in the last 3 seconds, he was ready. He was ready for it.
Had the big one in Miami in November, and everyone was like, "This is the best thing ever."
Bet your ass. And Pritchard, obviously, like you said. But cool. Before we move on, I need to tell you guys about Gametime, the best place for all your ticketing needs this basketball season, this baseball season, this concert season, theater season, anything you need. That's the beauty of Gametime. They make sure that they got you covered for everything. Let me pull up Gametime so I can give you the full effect, the full rundown of exactly why it's the best place for you to purchase your tickets. Let's take a look here. Let's look at Fenway Park. I'm a sucker for Fenway. You sue me. Let's take a look here. You see the super deal that they rate as the best value seat for the price you're paying. It tells the exact price. You can toggle on and off the feature to show you fees before you get to the end of your purchase too, so you know exactly when or exactly what you're paying without surprises at the end. You see the view from your seat. That's my favorite part. Last time we looked at Fenway, Sam pointed out you can see the shadows of the field. You can see the shadows everywhere, so you know when and where you'll be in the sun, etc.
Yep.
It's a nice little touch they add here. You can see the heat, the fire. The cheapest ticket in The stadium, this is standing room only though, so make sure you check there. But it does tell you exactly what you need to know. So you're ready to roll when you're making your purchase. It's the best place for audio ticketing needs. You get last minute deals as well, which is a great feature they have, which means you can save up to 60% off buying last minute for sports, concerts, comedy, theater, everything like that. Zone deals are great too, which means you can save even more when you choose a section like Gametime, choose the seats. So you get a little bit cheaper if you don't pick exactly where you go. Plus, you get the lowest price guarantee. Or Gametime will credit you 110% of the difference. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code CLNS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply again. Create an account and redeem code CLNS for $20 off. Download the Gametime app today. Last minute tickets, lowest priced, guaranteed. All right, let's jump over to the NBA and go series by series here, game by game. We'll probably cut away and come back later, obviously. But the one game that's done now that we can't talk about is Pacers Bucks. And
It's almost
my takeaway, almost done, but it's done. There
down to
are
12.
4 minutes left. It's down to 12, so there's a chance they can come back. So maybe if you see an edit cut in here, then you know something crazy happened. However, my takeaway, holy shit, the Bucks are bad. That is my takeaway. I'm going to read you something, Sam. 20 minutes and 36 seconds.
I know. I put it on here.
0 points, 0 rebounds, 0 assists, 0 steals, 0 blocks, 0 turnovers, 0 of 5 from the field, 0 of 2 from 3. Mr. Kyle Kuzma earned the ultimate Tony Snell stat line in the playoffs on the very team that Tony Snell graced his presence with for so long. This team started Ryan Rollins in a playoff game. Just that's unserious. Ryan Rollins, I'm sure he's a fine player. I'm sure he can be a fun player. Unserious business if he's your starting point guard for a playoff game. They're an unserious team. And shout out to Gary Trent and AJ Green, who are helping Giannis spearhead this comeback late in the game. But my God, this is ugly.
This has been just an absolute whomping of the Milwaukee Bucks. And listen, man, if you just look at the the box score, you can see Doc just throwing things at the wall. You have a bunch of guys who have just played 20 minutes. He's just begging anybody to make an impact in this game. There are, 8 guys who have played 20 plus minutes, 10 who have played 15 plus. Gary Trent and AJ Green actually gave them decent production off the bench. But my goodness, is Giannis just out there by himself doing everything he can to make the Milwaukee Bucks competitive against the Pacers in Indiana. And I just would like to pull this up here because this is something that was discussed for quite some time. And I would like everyone to just take a moment to think how times have changed. For those watching on YouTube, I've shared the Kuzma, Jason Tatum graphic that was so famously going around years and years ago when the two were rookies. And it gives Kuzma the edge. Kuzma, who they gave up Chris Middleton for. Chris Middleton, known playoff riser, probably the best guy for them against the Pacers last year. He single-handedly, I think, won them a game 4. I think he had this unbelievable overtime performance, sends it into overtime, goes nuts. He was really, really good for them. And to give him up for Kuzma, I get you're just kind of pulling out all the stops. You're like, we need to do something to keep Giannis in town and try and give him as much help as possible. It appears Kuzma was not it, Jack. It appears it was not the solution.
No. Yeah, I mean, listen, so I had to watch this game walking home from practice and a little bit at the Auerbach Center while we were working. Every time Giannis touched the ball, saw two. And I mean, he played great, right? They very much could make this comeback in the last 3 minutes, but they've been dominated the whole game. And they were down by as many as almost 30. He has 36 points and 12 rebounds, so he did his thing. He has 1 assist. And I don't want you to misconstrue that as Giannis sucks. I want you to use that information and contextualize it as the Bucks are terrible and can't make shots. Because the Bucks have 14 assists right now, currently, on 34 made baskets. And they're awful.
14 of those
they were
Giannis, by the way.
Yes. They were doubling. Yeah, the rest of the Bucks have made 20 shots. they were doubling him, sending pressure, and then every time he would throw a dumping pass, they would cut the passing lane off and like predict it. They would get a turnover. The Bucks had only 8 turnovers in the game, but Giannis had 4. Right, like they just did a phenomenal job of pressuring the ball and not letting the Bucks get comfortable shots off. So again, shout out the Pacers. They looked really, really, really good in this game.
Well-rounded.
Well-rounded. Halliburton only had 8 points, but he had 10 assists. Turner, Siakam had 21, but Turner looked great to me. But these guys were mid-range demons this game. They made every fucking mid-range shot. I watched them take. Mathurin looked good in his limited minutes. He didn't shoot super well, but he looked all right. Turner shot well from mid-range. Siakam, like they just had a nice, well-rounded team performance. And honestly, it was led by their defense because their offense wasn't anything spectacular in this game. They just clamped the fuck out of the Bucks.
Also, Nembhard is back. Nembhard, who was unbelievable in the playoffs last year, gave the Celtics hell in the conference finals, kind of disappeared back into the bushes this year a little bit, wasn't really as prominent this season. He just peeked his head out for the playoffs. 17 points, 5 assists on 8 of 13 from the field, only taking 3 threes. That man is cooking. He is a motherfucker. He's going to be there. Him and the silly-looking mustache will be there in the spring no matter what. The Pacers, once again, just kind of remind everybody, like, they're here. There's a reason why they were the most impressive-looking team the Celtics saw last year in the postseason. They've got 5 different guys in double figures, with one of them being TJ McConnell off the bench. And Halliburton, like you mentioned, only having 8 points, having an all-day 0 of 7 from 3, 3 of 13 from the field, still finding a way to get his teammates involved, 10 assists to just 1 turnover. This Pacers team is deep. It's a good team. We saw how good they were last year. It's kind of intriguing to see them on the same side of the bracket as the Cavs. And the lead, by the way, is now 15 with 2 minutes to go. So this one is dead. Pacers will be up 1-0 as you hear this. Jack did not have to make a cutaway in the video, at least not yet.
Yeah, not yet. But I say not yet because we're gonna do that right now because the other games haven't happened. We'll talk about Clippers, Nuggets, Pistons, Knicks, and probably Wolves, Lakers. That's gonna end at like midnight, so we'll talk about it. But I'm tired. But we'll throw it over to the rest of those games right now. All right, let's jump into Clippers Nuggets first. We're just gonna go in order of the games, talk about them there. Best game of the day. Best game of the day, I would argue. Knicks Pistons definitely gave it a run for his money. We'll talk about that too. But Clippers Nuggets ended up going to OT. Big plays by Russ at the end of regulation and overtime. Big buckets by James Harden at the end of the periods too. Big plays all around. Just a crazy back and forth between the two teams. With the Nuggets ending up earning the win after the Clippers were up by a decent amount,
a lot,
in the first half of this game too, and the Nuggets just battled all the way back. 112-110 win for Denver. I want to see the exact number that they were up by. Clippers were up by as many as 15 in the second quarter, and then it just whittled away in the second half. So shout out the Nuggets, got the job done. Jokic had a triple-double because of course he did. Russ played really well for his minutes and his role. He didn't shoot the ball particularly well, but that's kind of what the Clippers wanted him to do, was shoot a lot, and he did everything else well. Jamal Murray hit a bunch of clutch shots, even though he didn't shoot particularly well either, and scrapped out a win. Denver did, so credit to them.
Yeah, this was it feels like a really big missed opportunity for the Clippers. As someone who's rooting for them, unfortunately, you got really good games from Harden, Kawhi, Zubac, and you weren't able to capitalize it. You were up 15, as Jack mentioned. Couldn't capitalize on it. Just really melted down in the second quarter. They were up by 15 early. Harden has 15 in the first quarter, rather. I guess the entire first half, too, because he didn't score again until halftime. And then you go into halftime up 4. Just not really good enough. They melted down. They turned the ball over a lot. 20 turnovers on the day. And they smoked it, man. Like, the Clippers have very little room for error. Looking at the minutes distribution today, you had 7 guys play 24-plus minutes. Then you had Bogdanovich and Simmons as the 2 just plug and play. Hope you get something from them, guys. Got really nothing, and you don't want to rely on them. Simmons and Bogdanovich both have their respective weaknesses. Simmons offensively, Bogdanovich defensively. Man, they smoked it. Really rough. Fun Zubac game, too. His left hook shot that he does is the weirdest looking thing you'll ever see. Like, It looks like he did it on accident, and then it finds the bottom of the net somehow. But him versus Jokic was as advertised. Both guys with a double-double. Jokic with a 30-ish, 29, 12, and 9 game. And he was just a beast, as you would predict, right? Jokic is always going to ball out. The real Denver, well, yes, Westbrook is the main story, but Jamal Murray was butt ass until like the fourth quarter, until the game was basically on the line. Then he turned up and made a couple big shots, just like Russ did. But man, if you're a Clippers fan, you just have to be kicking yourself the way this one went down.
It's tough, man. The Nuggets are just so good at whenever Jokic has the ball, it's a 2-on-1. And a lot of that ended up being, okay, let's leave Russ open, give him some space. And when Russ wasn't making shots, he was passing out of it and then getting offensive rebounds. He had 4 offensive rebounds. He had 2 steals, including the steal to win the game. Like he shot 5 of 17, right? He shot like ass, but you could tell like how big of an impact he had on this win. Michael Porter Jr. was completely played out of the game. He was bad, and it didn't matter because they had Russ and they had Christian Brown, and they ran Aaron Gordon, Jokic, Christian Brown, and Jamal Murray for 45 plus minutes each. So they really didn't need many other players to do much in that game. Kawhi played 41 minutes and only took 15 shots. Maybe you look to change that a little bit, but then again, you don't really want to ruin the flow that they've been able to create with Zubac and Powell, both of whom got 15 and 12 shots respectively, and Harden shot well. Harden played really good, man. Like, for all the narratives throughout his career of Harden, playoff choker, can't win, like hit all the big shots in this game. It just didn't matter because the Nuggets were a little bit better. And when Harden didn't have the ball to say Kawhi had 7 turnovers. Kawhi wasn't good enough. Like Kawhi shot well, but he turned the ball over 7 times. You're not going to win the game. So it's tough, man. Yeah, Harden actually, like, this might be the first time in his career that Harden's team let him down.
Yeah, he was presence known right from the beginning. I said it, 15 points in the first quarter. He was going ballistic, hits a buzzer beater to cap it off. He was getting everything he wanted. He was distributing the ball really well in this one. He only turned the ball over twice to go along with his 11 assists. The turnovers killed the Clippers. Kawhi was the turnover machine today, unfortunately for him. And that was their Achilles heel. Like, that's what got Denver back into this game. Denver looked like they were dying out there. I think the fans might have even been booing at one point because the Clippers just kept getting offensive rebounds. Like Zubac, he had 6 of them. It felt like he was just controlling the game early, and then it flipped on its head when they started turning the ball over. You can't recover. The momentum was tough. Denver's guys finally started making shots. You just can't leave the door open like that. The playoffs, there's just not the kind of room for error that you would hope. And they got strong outings from, well, strong second half outings or fourth quarter overtime outings from Murray and Westbrook. The Westbrook part of this is just so funny because that's like break your TV stuff. Westbrook in the fourth quarter, 4 of 7 for 9 points, big plays. Jamal Murray, 2 of 5 for 6. They combined for, 15 of the 26. They showed out. That is a tough way to lose a basketball game, to an ice cold Jamal Murray and then Russell Westbrook at all is just fucking brutal.
Shout out Russ.
Russ, who was 0 of 4 in overtime, but he knocked the ball off of Harden at the end of the game, which at first I thought was like a really bizarre call, but I don't think if they challenged it,
it went off Harden.
Couldn't. Yeah, I don't think they would win the challenge. So sharp call by James Cooper. What a call.
He had a couple good ones because that Kawhi one in the end was like tough in real time too. Obviously, we got the benefit of slow motion, but shout out Russ, man. And shout out James Williams indeed. Next, Pistons Knicks. Sam, not thrilled, I know. Pistons had a lot of momentum in it, and whenever we talk about on here, like, oh yeah, I don't know, it's tough. It's a young team. This is what we mean. This is the definition of this is a young team without playoff experience. The Pistons got to the fourth quarter and just forgot how to play basketball. Knicks went on a 21-0 run, something like that. Transition bucket after transition bucket. Jalen Brunson getting to the hoop, Carlton Towns beating Asar Thompson off the drive. Like, the Knicks are not a good pick and roll defense team, but Cade was bad in this game in terms of shot making, and it just felt like he was a little bit sloppy and got caught up in the heat of the moment, and so they couldn't make him pay down the stretch when they needed him to. Credit to Pistons for getting up, but man, they pissed this one away.
So I was almost certain they were going to win this game. They had, as Jack said, all the momentum. They played a really great game considering the outing they got from Cunningham. Cade was not good. It's something I would have said, like, bet on him to struggle in his playoff debut, right? Like, first time he's ever played a playoff game, first time he's played a game that's mattered in the NBA. As funny as that sounds, like, I guess you could point to the streak games, like when they were losing every single game and they just wanted to get a win, so the narrative was dead. Maybe you could put those as big games, but this is the first real big Cade game. 6 turnovers, shot poorly from the field. He was a big part of the meltdown in the fourth quarter. He just really couldn't get them any buckets when they needed them. And yet they were still up. They were up 8 in the fourth. They got really good games from Tobias. Well, Tobias had a good half. He had a good half. Didn't do anything. He had 3 points in the second half. Not good. They get strong showings from Tim Hardaway Jr. and Malik Beasley. And this is why you bring in vets, right? You're sitting there thinking to yourself, oh man, like the younger guys are struggling. Like Duren really wasn't that impactful. Only had 4 shots the entire night, only 6 rebounds. Like really, he had a couple blocks. 3 blocks is pretty good. But you're like, oh yeah, the vets, they're here. They're ready to play. Schroeder has a moment. He had a couple big buckets back to back at the end of the third quarter, I think it was. And then they just melt down. It was unbelievable. 21-0. MSG is buzzing. Cat is doing 3-point goggles. I mean, I'm sorry, but if the Celtics lost to Cam fucking Payne having 11 points in the fourth quarter, I would put my head in the microwave. That is the most. I almost tweeted in the first half, holy shit, this Knicks team is so sad, giving Shamet and Cam Payne real playoff minutes. And then I'm so happy I didn't, because Cam Payne just explodes out of nowhere. 11 in the fourth, 4 or 5 from the field. Not your day if that's happening.
Yeah.
As good as they played, not their day.
Hey, man. Pistons just look like shit in the fourth quarter. Like that. I know campaign. Like if you erase what campaign have in the fourth quarter, you said 11.
He had 11. They still lost by 8 points.
I was gonna say if you erase campaign's 11 points and just pretend like they didn't happen, the Knicks would still have won the fourth quarter, 29-21. And I guess it would have gone to overtime, but the fact that like 11 points isn't enough to make, like, they just played like shit. They had 21 fourth quarter points. They gave up 40 fourth quarter points. Let me look at the the game book. I wonder how many transition points, obviously calculated by the box score, so it can be a little flawed. But in the fourth quarter, the Knicks had only 6 fast break points. That's not indicative of how many they got. The stats are flawed. Like they were running every single time they turned the ball over. I mean, the Pistons had 6 turnovers in the fourth quarter alone. And they scored 11 points off those turnovers. Like 8 team turnovers, 6 personal turnovers, because they had a couple, I think, shot clock violations too. So like it was a complete mess, and 26 points in the paint for the Knicks in the fourth quarter. That is 5 more points than the Pistons had total in the fourth quarter.
These turnovers from the Pistons in the fourth quarter were like downright comical. The first one comes, by the way, Cade had 3 of them. First one comes off an inbounds pass where he just throws it to, he underthrows it so bad, Cat gets an easy steal, and then it's a transition bucket. Next one, he gets blitzed by Cat, can't do anything about it, and then just turns the ball over. Tobias Harris has a ridiculous turnover where he's just like trying to do some dribbling and then throws the ball to no one, as Cade really should have got this turnover because he was trying to steal Josh Hart and then gave up on the play. This was a really, really bad showing from Cade in a big spot. And it was really disappointing after the team had really picked up where he had let them down today, you know? Then, I mean, the game was over when some of these turnovers in the fourth happened, but holy shit, were they bad. Like, scratch your eyes, can't believe what you're seeing bad from the Pistons.
Not good.
Did they get hoed in this game a little bit? Yes, they did. They had moments when they got hoed. There was the transition dunk where I think Tim Hardaway Jr. has a fast break. Josh Hart chases him down.
Yes.
Fouls the fuck out of him. Ball goes in and then comes back out through the bottom. They call an offensive goaltend, no foul. Doesn't matter. They recover. I think there was another thing that they got like really wrong in that too.
When was that?
That was in the third. Towards the end. They were about to go up, I think, 8 maybe on that play, and then
I see.
kind of kills
So
the
then they
momentum.
re-extended their lead to like.
They did. They responded
Yeah.
well, and then they didn't. Then they ran out of gas.
And then they didn't. Yeah, Pistons were up 98-90 with 9:16 left in the fourth quarter. And then it was 98-111 with 4:49. So under 5 minutes, 21-0 run. It's you lose. You don't win that one.
Very bad.
If you ever needed an example of why momentum is real, watch this game. Last game, Lakers-Wolves. Just wrapping up a few minutes ago as we're recording this. 117-95 win for the Wolves. Lakers went up early, excuse me, in this game. It looked like they were up like 7 points for most of the first quarter. It looked like, oh, like
was going off.
It really looked like the Timberwolves just don't have the shot creation. And then Randall figured out, remembered how to play basketball a little bit. Naz Reid is fucking insane, bro. Like they need to say fuck Rudy Gobert and play around Naz Reid a little more. Rudy Gobert looked like shit, but that's besides the point. Ant got hurt for a little bit and came back in, and it was no coincidence that Ant was out and the Lakers went on a run. Ant came back and they got killed again. Jaden McDaniels was huge for them with the Timberwolves too. Julius Randle picked it up, but this was really Naz Reid, Ant, and Jaden McDaniels. Man, they carried the load for this team. Naz Reid was fucking insane. He is so good. And then Luka had 37, but it didn't matter because LeBron had 19, Reeves had 16. Nobody else could put up 10. The whole team was pretty mediocre.
Only two other guys put up 5.
Yeah, it was not a good night for anybody else on the Lakers. And one of the guys that put up 5 only played garbage time. So not great. Not exactly what you want to see.
That's
I don't
exactly
know
what I wanted to see.
Sure. Well, I'm saying if you're them, but I don't think this is like fully indicative of the Wolves are just going to steamroll the series. The Wolves shot 50% from 3. I don't think that's going to maintain. I'm not saying they're going to shoot like 30%, but I think there will be some water finding its level. But not great if you're the Lakers and you just got completely killed in transition and on the boards and everything else. I guess not on the boards because they had more offensive rebounds, but you know what I mean. It was not a good night for LA.
My favorite part of this box score is you kind of look and you're like, wow, Minnesota turned the ball over 10 times in this game. And then you scroll up and you see where the turnovers came from. And 7 of them came from Julius Randle, who felt like he was actively trying to cost them this game during certain stretches.
Until he wasn't.
I mean, like classic Julius Randle stuff, just either make or break you, possession to possession, doesn't matter. The Minnesota Timberwolves won this game on the shoulders of the other guys. It was awesome. Jaden McDaniels, you mentioned him, had this incredible game, 25 points, makes all 3 of his threes, just was really impactful. Mike Conley made a couple big ones in the first half too. And then Naz Reid had a takeover stretch. I think it was in the second quarter when the Timberwolves were just completely turning this game on its head. Makes, I think, 3 out of like 3 threes on 4 possessions. Lights the Lakers up, forces them to call timeout. And it's evident like things are not going to go their way. But unfortunately, I'm with Jack. I think this is going to be a little bit more tightly contested than a how many points they win by? 22-point blowout in game 1. Like, I don't think that's going to be the stencil, the cookie cutter, whatever you want to call it, example for this series. Did Luka play well in this game? Yes. Came out guns blazing. You had LeBron kind of have like a meltdown in the fourth quarter where he took a dive on a closeout on a 3 and then got up, palms up, irate at the official. Just like a culmination of frustration in this game for him and the rest of the team where LeBron has had a career defense, like everybody in his corner saying no help. This is the epitome of no help. We said it. 2 guys outside of Reeves, James, and Doncic even cracked 5 points. And 1, if you take out garbage time, it was a pathetic display for the Lakers. It's exactly what you want to see if you're a Celtics fan. They seemed all out of whack, but I think they'll just come back and play a little bit better. Only a little bit in game 2.
Yeah, man. I mean, you got to the end of this game, and Lakers had a real chance to like storm back and make a run, and they just couldn't hit shots.
Yes.
Like they got a ton of good shots in this game, and it just didn't matter. So I do think there will be some water finding its level as the series go on, and we'll see what happens. But good win for the Wolves, and I think that just about does it. Anything else you wanted to go over before we jump back to the rest of the show and do the rat list and everything, or you think that's good?
We're good.
All right, we'll do that. All right, Sam, rat list. We'll do this now after the game, so we don't have too much to record later. What you got?
Rat list. Rat list is the Uber drivers down in Austin. I didn't talk about this shit, did I? I don't think I did.
I don't think so.
So we primarily used Uber to get around when we were on vacation in Austin.
Yeah.
There are tons of Ubers. There's no metro system. I mean, you could take the bus and they have like one rail that goes north, but nothing like Boston or New York or any massive city that has a subway system. So we had to use the Ubers, and we had 5 guys in our group. So me and 4 others, and shout out to the burger place. Meaning we had to order an Uber XL every time, so we had enough room for everybody. And oftentimes in these Ubers, there's the front seat, the back seat, and then the seats that go and they fold up, and then there's the back seat. And we were just kind of getting in the Ubers by like the order we were standing. It wasn't really planned. I ended up in the back seat as a 6'3" guy almost every single time. And there were 2 Ubers that it was particularly terrible in, where my knees were jammed against the seat. I had to like fold myself like a fucking pretzel. And one of them had the very back seat has headrests, but the headrests were actually just at your mid back and you couldn't lift them up. So not only did I have my legs pushed up into my chest, I also had to lean forward and contort myself. Very interesting gymnastics that I had to do in the Ubers. And by the way, there was one Uber. So one of my friends wanted to go to this park and like just check it out and see what was there. So we Ubered to the park. And I think my friend just like clicked on like the icon on Apple Maps of the park. So it didn't bring us to a particular entrance. And we get there and we're on like this random side road, no buildings, just brush. And we're like, hey, can you drive us up like to the entrance? And the guy's like, no. So we all had to like get out in what felt like the middle of nowhere and trudge our way to the park entrance. So shout out to the Ubers.
Yeah, that part is definitely rat list. However, I've a couple of questions on the first portion of your story here.
Okay.
4 other guys with you, correct?
Yes.
What are their heights? How tall are they?
I'm the tallest. Frank is a little shorter than me. And the other 3 are like 5'10" to 6 feet. Nobody's super short.
Okay. The rat list should not be the Ubers. The rat list should be your friends for making the tallest guy sit in the back.
Well, it wasn't really a making the tallest guy sit in the back. It just happened. Yes, I understand. And I do agree.
Or just Uber XL. Or were these XLs?
That's what we did.
Okay, these were XLs. Yeah, it should just be shortest in the back then.
I had one friend who just took shotgun every time. Dude was a soldier.
Yeah.
That's the meme of the soldier, like taking all the knives to the back and protecting the kid in the bed sleeping. That was my friend that did shotgun every time.
Yeah. Oh, I have a rat list. I don't want to. I'm not gonna. I'm just gonna say, shout out everybody on Twitter being very kind. Shout out to Jay King for being a funny dude. Funny fucking
I saw that
guy.
today, and I sent it to our little Twitter thread with a couple of our friends, and I was like, "What the fuck?"
Jay King, and if you want context, go check Jay King's Twitter. Go look anywhere on Twitter. Go look at Noah's Twitter. She quote tweeted something about this the other day. It's not worth going into details. Jay was sitting across from me. He goes, "Wouldn't this be fucking funny if I tweeted this?" And I was like, "Yeah, it would be." He's like, "I'm gonna do it," and he just started. So shout out Jay King for being a troll, and shout out everyone for being very nice on Twitter. But I'm not going to talk about it further because it's just not worth my time.
This is what I said to Jack, and we can leave it at this. I said, "What is the best thing that person thought was going to happen?" Like.
I think he just thought everyone would be like, yeah, Jack fucking sucks.
Yeah, like everybody was going to see it and be like, you know what, you're right. I actually hate Jack. I wish he would get a flip phone, stop making videos, and just overall throw his microphone and camera away.
Go fuck off. Hey, let me know down below if you want me to just fuck off and jump into the ocean. Let me if you want me to go away forever. 'Cause
Shout
maybe
out to
more people
Danny,
feel
who
like that.
just emerged on Twitter yesterday and was in the
Danny,
trenches.
I sent Jay's tweet to my friend group chat without context at first, and Danny
Oh,
just
I
goes,
saw
"No
him.
fucking way." And Danny responded, he goes, "Jay, welcome to the Thunderdome." I told Jay the context, and he was just laughing. But shout out. But anyways, I don't have anything else. That's
And
my
if any
only
of
rat
you
list. Sure, actually,
defended Jack, by the way, shout out to you guys. I did
shout
not
out.
defend Jack. I was at an event with my girlfriend. She has her mid school prom every year, so this is year 3. Every year I've worn the same suit, and I get to do my favorite thing, which is there are. Let me preface this with saying I do like a lot of the people that I do see at these things. A lot of people are good people that we've hung out with several times. There are the occasional drunk people that we adjacently know that try and talk to us. It's brutal. This guy last year came up to me and like wouldn't leave me alone, and he resurfaced yesterday and was talking to me and was like, "Man, I haven't seen you since last one of these." And I was like, "Oh, I wonder why." Just reeked. It's fucking brutal, man.
Happens,
I
man.
I don't know how to get out of these conversations.
You just don't. You just let it rock and do what you need to do. All not necessarily the rat list, but more of a fun story. So I hooped yesterday, and it was me, Noah, and Noah's friend Olivia against Bobby Manning, Terp, and Bobby Manning's cousin, Brendan, and they won the first game. I'll say it here because she said it to me. Noah got cooked by Justin. She did. First game.
Oh no.
And I didn't know how good Bobby's cousin was because I didn't know him, but he got me a little bit too because I was like feeling out like, can he shoot? Can he drive? What can he do?
Yeah.
So he like drove past me a couple times and then he shot over me a couple times because I didn't know he could shoot, whatever. And we get in to the second game, right? And it starts raining a little, and everyone's like, "Yeah, maybe we go." I go, "Fuck no!" I go, "Run it back," because I'm mad, right? I didn't want to fucking go off on a loss again, so we run it back. And me, Noah, and Olivia are talking, and we're like, "What if we do this? Like, we got to change this because." Like they were trying to feed me the post and the entry passes weren't getting there. And I was slow to close out. And we are like, let's just screen more. We'll give it to you further out and we'll go from there. Played 3 more games, got 3 more wins. He just wiped the floor. We dominated. Shout out. Terp shoots like a motherfucker though. Respect. He hits shit. But we got our shit together and we cooked. We won 2 games, then we played one more for fun, like wrapping up 1-15-1. Wiped our hands, got out of there. Felt good. I felt good. It felt good. I was a classic Jack post game. It was great. Noah and Olivia were hitting their middies. It was good. It was a good bounce back after a brutal start. So yeah, that's all I got.
So
I don't have anything else.
Apparently, Dame got in Halliburton's face and was like, "I'll beat your ass." And this game won in Milwaukee, in Indiana today. First things first, Dame is dressed like he is supporting the Pacers. He has a top on that looks like it is literally a Pacer team issue sweater. But if you're Halliburton, you do have to worry because you can't forget that Dame has had nothing to do in Milwaukee but sit around and watch boxing videos. If you remember that story last year, that's all he had to look forward to is going home to refresh YouTube to see if a new boxing video dropped.
Pat Connaughton is about to get hit with a flagrant too, so they're really just in a bad spot.
Not Massachusetts native. We can't have that.
I don't have anything else though. I'm chilling.
That's it, man. Exciting day ahead. We'll be talking about. We already talked about it, but can't wait to watch the rest of the games. Big one for our Pistons. Can't wait. Yeah, big one today as you hear this too.
Yeah. It would be funny if we just like came back here after you say like, and you said this post after they lost by like 20 or something.
They might.
Doesn't mean I
can't be excited. That's like the beauty of like this Pistons support is like you don't really have expectations. If they win, it's kind of like house money. It's awesome.
Yeah. Anyways, appreciate y'all for tuning in. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe to How About Them Celtics and all that. Sam, take it out.
Yeah, thank you very much for listening and watching. Make sure you leave a like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell. We're here every single day, dropping new content, full podcast Tuesdays, Thursdays, Sunday. Game recaps up the one after each game, and other videos are on the channel in between to keep you up to date with all things Celtics. You can find the two of us streaming pregame live a half hour before tip-off. So go ahead, come out, hang out with the chat, watch us play GeoGuessr. It's a lot of fun. I hope you calm your nerves before these massive playoff games. You can find us on Spotify and Apple too. All pods and recaps are up there, so if you just want the audio versions, we got you covered. Hit the follow button, leave a 5-star review. We'd appreciate that very, very much. Tell your friends. Email us, hbtcpod@gmail.com if you're listening to this after the game, or even before it. Send us an email after the game. Tell us what you thought of Game 1. We'll be recording on Monday, hbtcpod@gmail.com. Our socials are How About Them C's for Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Facebook is just the name of the podcast. All streams are there. They're on YouTube, on Twitter. Jack's Twitter is @JackSimoneNBA. His TikTok is @JackSimoneNBA. He's making the worst videos you've ever seen. So follow him there @JackSimoneNBA. You can follow me on Twitter @SamLaFranceNBA. That's it for us.